Right, so other news at the SAWA, Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture briefing the media on an update on the 2023 Netball World Cup that's taking place. Let's take you live there.
We'll be able to make a comment as the Netball World Cup 2023 on the net. There's been some issues around ticketing. If you'll recall, in our last press conference, I did indicate that all was in place, but we're just having teething issues around ticketing. I've got the CEO here on my left-hand side, so that some of the questions that are technical, probably they can be able to deal with. But I can just indicate to you that we've done our best to make sure as an organizing committee that this thing does not really become too much of a serious matter. We have improved since from day one, and I think things are going very well. We are halfway through the tournament, and on the whole, it has been a success. The problem we've encountered are all part and parcel of staging an event of this magnitude. And again, I'm not telling you what I believe you should write and broadcast, but I would like you to also point out the positives. The Netball World Cup is hugely important for women's sport, not only in South Africa, but on the African continent as a whole. When we decided to bid to host this event, the first time it's being held on African soil, we did so with the intentions of raising the profile of netball through Africa and also the role of women in sport. It is the start of Women's Month today. You know, it's 1st August. We've got our Women's holiday on the 9th. And may I say Happy Women's Month to all our girls and women. While there has been isolated problems of the court, we have seen incredible talent on the court, and the state of the world netball is extremely healthy. We are not going to take our eyes off the ball at this half stage, and we'll continue working hard to ensure it's a memorable success. And once the tournament is over and life returns to normal, we'll be doing exhaustive debriefs in terms of addressing the positive and the negative issues that have surrounded the competition. For now, though, I urge you to get behind the event and provide the support necessary to ensure that the Netball World Cup is remembered for all the good it has brought to Cape Town, to South Africa, and the continent. I'm now going to allow the TD to go into detail in some of the functional areas in terms of the current state of affairs. I thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. I would like to acknowledge the Deputy Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, the Chairperson of the Board, the Head of JOG, our sponsors and members of the media, and also our CEO from World Netball. She's here. I would like to acknowledge her as well, Claire Brigal. I also want to thank you all for attending this media briefing so that we can give you a status update. At this moment, we have started with the second phase of the tournament, which started on Monday yesterday. If you remember, when ticket went out, it was groups. We didn't know which team is going to be playing who, which was then confirmed on Sunday night after the last game. And we issued the new schedule of the games after that. So in terms of our ticket sales and attendance, I think that also played a role because other people were unsure, and most of the South Africans are not familiar with that system. For some, has also been asking, are other teams leaving or staying as we are going to the next phase? But in terms of netball, all plays until almost the last day. So our ticket sales are down, but we saw other games starting from tomorrow picking up. If you look at tomorrow, we are also going to be playing 3 games in the afternoon, and also Thursday we'll be playing 3 games. So those tickets have started picking up as well. And as we go towards the end of the week, from Friday, we'll start with the ranking and the playoffs, and Saturday we start with the semi-finals, the first phase of the semi-finals. So the tickets for the semi-finals and the finals are almost, the finals is sold out, the semi-finals, the two of them are almost sold out. They're at 90%. So you'll see then back all the crowds coming back into the venue. And in terms of also of our planning, we also wanted to give our spectators and our visitors an experience. Hence, we have partnered also with Brand SA, Tourism, and also have ensured that our activations are in place through our sponsors and partners. So we want to give every visitor who's here an experience of what it be like to be a South African and what you can experience in here. It's not only about coming to the game and living. Also in terms of our security, I think I'll leave it to the general to talk about that. But so far, the first phase went very smooth, and we're excited to go into the second phase. I think also going forward, we're only going to be using one venue. There's only going to be one game that we are playing at CTICC 2 on Thursday morning, and all the games now will be concentrated at CTICC 1. Yeah, I think we've covered almost everything that we needed to update on.
Okay, let's go into the questions and answers, and put your hands up and the staff will come through to you, and I'll just manage from the top. Thank you.
Good day, we are from Newsroom Africa. First question will go to Tournament Director. Just on the ticketing issue as well. Initially, in the press conferences building up to this Netball World Cup, it was open in terms of the sort of target that you're trying to reach in terms of the revenue for the tournament, with the ticket sales making up about 58% of that. I think it's sitting at an amount of like about 65 mil, if I'm not mistaken. You'd correct me. How far are you in terms of reaching that target? In terms of what has happened so far, do you think that you're still on par? And when you look at the stage that we are in now, do you feel like at this point you would have reached a certain target, of course, with the rest of the tournament still coming up? And then my second question will go to Carol. I think it makes sense for this. Ms. Priscilla did mention earlier on in terms of the different stages. Just how much in detail did that affect in terms of ticket selling, in terms of data? Because in terms of the format, how teams switch from one stage to the next, with a lot of people not understanding which of the teams will be in the next group, how much did really in detail affect that phase? And lastly, maybe let me put this one to Board Chairperson. Some of the conversations that we've been picking up outside of the tournament is going to the surrounding communities like Elanga, for example, who have been hosting their fan parks, and the conversations that come out of there is the feeling that the ticket, in terms of sales, in terms of the amounts of the ticket, have sort of like put them in a marginalized position. Just want to get your thoughts on that. You're still sticking by the notion that whatever we have put as the price or as the ticket price money, you stand by it, even though it feels like for some people around the communities here, I feel like they've been marginalized with the amount of how much the tickets are. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to just, before we carry on, we're going to manage this properly. Not too many questions, please. Everybody's minds are boggling, and we have to watch netball at 4 o'clock. Okay, so we'll go back to questions, but if you could please keep them to 1 or 2 questions at the most, and then we can go into it. But let's start with the answers there, please, and then we can go. Thanks for your sorry.
Okay. Maybe if I were to start with the response, in terms of our target that we've put, we are almost at 70%. And also in terms of the marginalized communities that are not having access because the tickets are expensive, what we have done in terms of reducing the tickets, because we feel that it will be very unfair if somebody bought a ticket at 500 and now we're going to sell it at 100 rand. So instead of doing that, for those communities, the tickets that are not, because we've got the figures now on the sessions that have sold and which ones are not doing well, we are giving those tickets to our partners and sponsors so that they can give them to the other communities so that they can be able to come to the venues. So we are giving some of those tickets out. What was the other question? I think the other question was directed to you. Yeah.
Thanks. Is this on? Good afternoon. So I always get edgy when I'm between the police and the board of chairmen. Then I come from a rock and roll background. Usually you run from these guys. I'm joking. Good afternoon. So from our side, your question was about the staging. So obviously with these events, it's in the nature of them. Stage 1, Stage 2, Stage 3, and there was an element of that. But we saw immediately when the announcement was made, the sales for the next phases jumped significantly, and there was also a lot of moving tickets around. I think a lot of what we've been doing in the background from Plankton side is to try and keep ourselves as flexible as possible, to move things around. People don't know the venue. So they bought a ticket for that side, but they want to be on this side. So that sort of thing. And then just going back to Priscilla's comment, there's also a lot of work, and I don't think people always see that their team is busy bringing schools in, we're working with a whole team of volunteers. So it's easier for us to just appoint our normal weekend teams to run the gates. But with World Cup, we've got a full team of volunteers that we're working with. So the experience goes further, So it's a nice project to be part of. Cool. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, I think the TD has touched on the issue of the ticketing, and it's not a defense mechanism. My response is that we know at such an event, in the World Cup level, the cost of ticketing, it's all high. And I've been doing comparison with other World Cups, and in this instance, unfortunately, we're sticking to the same cost that has been agreed upon in terms of the sales for the tickets. And I'm just hoping with our intervention, as the TD has said, that now we're speaking to our partners to give the opportunity to those, and we're hoping that they'll be part of the experience also then coming to the venue. Thank you.
Deputy Minister, please, could you say something there?
Thank you very much, Bruce, and good afternoon to everybody in the committee. I just wanted to add a little bit on the issue of I think it was asked by Vuyo around the communities around that feel marginalized and are not part of the tournament. First of all, I think we must all acknowledge the fact that the first phase was a huge success because it happened over the weekend. And unfortunately, it finished on Sunday, and then
that is a live Netball World Cup briefing, perhaps giving us a status update in relation to a number of factors as that World Cup is underway at the Cape Town International Convention Centre. The issue of ticket sales, attendance, as well as the environmental community coming to the fore, perhaps also preparations as we edge closer to Saturday, where the semi-finals will be taking place, perhaps also edging closer to the finals. So we'll continue to monitor developments as it unfolds. Of course, later South Africa is also set to be playing another match there, South Africa versus New Zealand.